Sonnie in Arizona.
Hi,
You're up.
Ryan. All
Hi, Sonny.
right. Um, I am eternally fascinated with the champion mindset. And I think one of the things that falls under that is visualization. And so I'm curious, as an Olympian, how did you use visualization for peak performance in two ways? Both, because I think you have to go at it two ways, right? So how did you use it individually and how did you use it as a team tool?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, another mechanism that you have to leverage in order to get that little bit of percentage point better. So we had a mindset coach. That person would come in and work with us as a team regularly. He talked a lot, take it a little bit back to your question. He talked a lot about taking his thing. I'm trying to remember his exact words now, but it was something like taking kind of that 1 or 2 or 3 seconds. A bad play has happened. Acknowledge the bad play. Take that 1, 2, 3 seconds, acknowledge the bad play. And then when you decide to get back, then you step back in and that's done. Now it's focused on the next play. So it's not like you're ignoring the bad. It's you're accepting the bad and then resetting so that you can move on to the next play. And so for us, that was kind of a mantra in regards to whenever things didn't go as planned, which happens often. And it happens often in organizations as well. We deal with a lot of things that happen that might even be outside of our individual circumstances. We still got to deal with it. You know, you take a second and you think, wow, this isn't fair. I can't believe I have to deal with this. And then you step back in and go, okay, so I recognize and acknowledge that I've got this issue. What else can I do now? How else can I look at the problem differently? What other resources can I tap into here? Whose perspective might be helpful for me to solve this problem? There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of manipulate that what else can I do question that helps you think about desired solutions rather than the problem defining your progress and victimizing you as because you're in this circumstance. That kind of also is the difference between this notion of choosing to be in winner mode versus choosing to be in whiner mode, and the different places that we tend to operate when we choose to go in those. And so from a team, that was that aspect. For me personally, I use this as well a lot because I don't know if this is actually true, but I'm curious to hear from other athletes, and I would ask him this question. As a professional athlete, I tended to be really good at compartmentalizing things. And I know in psychology, that might not be the greatest thing for when you're like older in life. I think there's kind of a compartmentalization is kind of a bad rap because it means that people aren't in tune emotionally and things like that. But as athletes, you kind of have to create this mentality of compartmentalization where the pressure of the game is in one bucket and the stress of what you're dealing with in your family life is in another bucket, and the stress of dealing with what you're dealing with financially is in another bucket. And you tend to not let those buckets kind of overflow into one another. Oftentimes when they do is when you tend to see high performing athletes tend to spill a little bit. I think Tiger Woods is a great example. There's probably lots of good athletes that you can kind of identify that where they weren't able to kind of keep their buckets separate, where they started spilling in together. And so for me, even going into the gold medal match, I can still remember waiting in the tunnel going into the stadium. And literally, I was so focused on the bucket of the performance of that game. And I was just thinking, look, it's a gold medal match. I get it, but we're just going out and playing volleyball. We've done this thousands of times before. We know what we're going to do. I know what I'm going to do. And so I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try to do it at the best of my ability, and whatever happens, happens. But I know and I feel confident that if we can play our best, that the outcome will take care of itself. And I didn't really let anything else kind of flow into that bucket. I didn't let the pressure of the moment flow into that bucket. I didn't let the pressure of being able to rise to what my teammates trusted me to do, the expectations of my family, all the fans. It was just about going out and executing and working within that confine, that individual bucket at that time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So